to introduce the multifaceted personality and a great person, Dr. Father Gilbert, to the participants of this webinar. Father Gilbert Chundal is an ordained Catholic priest by divine choice. He is a Salesian priest of Don Bosco by his own choice. He holds PhD degree in catechetics from the Salesian Pontifical University, Rome. That is his profession, or what we call mission. Awarded with a gold medal for his doctoral dissertation, which is a proof of his God-given intelligence. Producer of innovative biblical newspapers and PowerPoint DVDs, faith kits for faith education, a genius indeed. A lucid writer, as he is the author of several books and articles. He is the editor of Quarterly Catechetics India, secretary to Indian Catechetical Association, and coordinator of education of faith at the Salesian Provincial Conference of South Asia. Above all, a passionate and jealous religious who aspires to live his life in abundance and fullness. He has been the head of the Department of Faith Education and Youth Ministry in Bangalore, India for 6 years, where he had trained students who were preparing for postgraduate course in faith education and youth ministry. He has passion for photography, painting, and movies. He is much sought after resource person in teaching teachers to teach. Presently, he is the catechetical director of Nitika Don Bosco in Calcutta. What adds to his greatness is his unassuming nature. He is being very ordinary. His gentleness, his practical, useful ideas down to earth. You feel like listening, and you feel awe and wonder after listening to Father Gilbert. Once a resource person asked the participants, "How long can I speak?" The participants replied, "You can speak as long as you want, but we will go away after 45 minutes. Just a gentle reminder, Father Gilbert, your presentation is for 45 minutes, though we wish to hear you longer time. The next 10 minutes will be allotted for the participants for their clarification. You participants are welcome to unmute your videos, but mute your audios till the end. If you have any queries or questions, you are welcome to write in the chat box. That will be taken by Father Gilbert very seriously and sincerely, and he will clarify you. Father Gilbert, I have not done justice to your personality, but time doesn't permit me to speak more than this. I welcome you. Over to you, Father Gilbert.
Thank you, Sister Inigo. Privileged to be moderated by you. I will be moderate, okay, in presenting this. Please remind me also 5 minutes before if I overshoot my time.
Yes.
I hope you are able to see the screen.
Yes, Father.
Okay. Okay. This is a topic I'm going to present to you. Nature and future of post-pandemic catechesis. in this, these are the topics I am going to speak during this 40-45 minutes. I begin with a poem, introductory poem connected to this topic, pandemic and post-pandemic times. And second, some phases of faith during pandemic. Some of these phases come from the media, and some of the phases come from my own experience and my own life. Some of the phases of faith during the pandemic. And from there, I will switch on to nature of catechesis. Nature of catechesis, as we understand today, not 10 years back, not 50 years back, the understanding of catechesis today. And from there, to propose something for the catechesis after this pandemic, some concerns or some caveats towards this catechesis that will be there after post-pandemic or after the pandemic. Then the fifth one, I'm not a prophet to propose future catechesis, but I am proposing some indications for the catechesis in the future and some areas of focus that we need, or some areas of shift from the past areas, some needed focus or needed shifts in future catechesis. And sixth, I'll conclude with some inspiring images of faith and catechesis that could be inspiration for the catechesis after this pandemic, and a concluding poem. Since I started with a poem, I'll conclude with another poem. That is what I intend to provide. Let us begin with a poem. This is a poem, a pondering poem of the pandemic, written by Jason Heroes. It was written during the first wave. And the title of the poem is All People. All people wonder what 1 + 1 equals now. The numbers aren't allowed to gather together. The letters from A to Z are working from home. The alphabet is closed. The morning news announces more sick, more dead. You are your hand, I am mine. And it's hard not to join his applause or prayer. It's hard for us to live alone in our pockets. At night, the light grows quieter, saving his strength for another day. Empty street, where are you going? Why? We are in this together, stay. It may look strange for you, this poem, almost like a paragraph, no, almost like a prose, but it is a poem. And he himself, the poet himself, gives interpretation. He interprets starting from the title, All People. And he says, all people is the meaning of the word pandemic, inspired by the etymology of pandemic. Pandemic coming from two Greek words, pan plus demos. Pan means all, demos means people. So he titled his poem, All People. Pandemic means all people. And on general level, pandemic indicates separation, quarantine, isolation, separation from each other. But on a deeper level, it means strengthening our connections. We are connected to each other. So on one level, it is separation. Another level, we are connected to each other. And Pope Francis said the same thing, in fact, on 27th March 2020, when he addressed an empty St. Peter's Square in the evenings of that day, when the first wave already began. We are all in the same boat. One person's problem is everybody's problem. And we are all together, sailing together. So this is what even this poet and also Pope Francis mentioned. That means it makes us realize we are all people together in this journey. Going along this poem, he continues the interpretation. This poem raises more questions than answers. If you go through it again, you will realize it raises more questions than answers, more uncertainty than sureness. And final word is stay. So I'm not going to give you certain type and sure type of catechism in the future, probably more questions and more concerns, even in our catechetical field. Final word is to stay. What does it mean by stay? To spend time in a place or situation, to come to a stop or stand still, or still to support or prop up, and the power of endurance. So that's all when we think of the word stay for the poet. And that means inviting all of us, all the people, to faith, hope, and love. So this is the poet says, and I thought that would set the tone towards all that I am going to speak. These are some phases of faith during the pandemic. I'll begin with some pictures. This is a family that is praying, facing the TV screen and kneeling down during a mass. In fact, live streamed by us from Calcutta Salesians in Nidhiga Don Bosco. This is a typical scene during the first wave, probably also second wave. Probably this scene is slowly disappearing. It gives a sense of sacredness in a mundane space called family. It gives family spirituality, it gives family prayer, it gives family faith. Second one was a cartoon I received in my WhatsApp, a cartoon where God is umpire, you are the batsman, and COVID-19 is a bowler. And you have the family, batting along with you, and all around you, faith, the problems and struggles of your family. And I think this gives indication of fear of the unknown in your family, family struggles, uncertainties of life, and sickness and death, and why the question at the face of this pandemic. This is a phase of pandemic from my own community here, where I ventured into the caring of the pandemic priest, and some died, some survived. The first one on your left is a priest, 96-year-old priest, Father Peter Lutz. He was affected by pandemic in the first wave. I anointed him, took him. We almost thought he would not survive. He is still alive. The second one, I am anointing a priest, a COVID priest. He was completely off the life and completely off the mood and completely actually weak and vulnerable to this COVID-19, but he survived. And you have on my right, I am taking a priest to the hospital, a pandemic priest. We walked to the hospital, but he died in the hospital. These are the phases of pandemic for me personally. And during the first wave and second wave, my own brother passed away. Now, it gives me a lot of phase of courage and affinity towards those who suffered, and also sense of fear when I ventured into this pandemic. Lots of fear in the beginning and lots of courage later. This is a phase of the people who were migrating during the first wave when the lockdown was announced. People moving away from south to north, from city to the villages, migrating for fear of pandemic, walking miles. It gives an indication of poverty, misery in our society, carelessness of the society, hopelessness at the face of pandemic, and struggle to survive in this world. This is a phase of pandemic in our community where we initiated COVID care unit, where sisters, fathers, doctor, and lay people worked in hand to look after the slum pandemic people where they have no way to go to the hospitals. And we, in fact, had 2,000 people in 5 months, 2,000 patients visiting us in this 5 months. And this was a courageous act. Together we worked, and it was a kind of sense of fulfillment that we were able to reach out to the people who suffered. A sense of service, sense of care, dedication, and connecting to people who were not able to connect. This is where we began and we entered. We always began with a prayer in pandemic, relying on God and faith before duty, faith during duty. And that gives us what Psalmist says, 127, if the Lord does not build a house, in vain do his builders labor. Along with this, we had a kind of online research or a survey. Those who attended our online Calcutta Salesians from Nidhiga Don Bosco. We had online services, mass and other services, almost 1.5 years. Last month we stopped it, and we did a kind of mini online research. 60 people responded. What program did you participate at Calcutta Salesians? Only those who participate in Calcutta Salesians. And 93% said they liked the mass, though we had other services during 1.5 years, novena talks, ask online, a kind of apologetic catechesis, live adorations. We had Monday talks, but they preferred, and most of them liked 93. So liturgy of the liturgy, sacrament of the sacraments, appreciated by people. How often do you attend the mass streamed from Calcutta Salesians. We were wondering, people were not regular, but we were surprised to see almost half the number of people were daily participants of our live streaming. Daily, almost 45 people. That's one result we had from here. The next point was, how did the daily mass stream from Calcutta Salesians help you? And you see the first three results. It helped my daily life. 70%. It helped them in different ways of their daily life, daily chores of their lives. I got a lot of information about Bible and liturgy. 63% said, and I could share what I learned with others. And that is good news being shared. Almost half, 46% said that. How did the chat box during live stream help you? That during the live stream, the YouTube chat box, and people put messages there. And kind of mixed reactions. It helped me connect to others during. But at the same time, I could pray for them and their needs. It was a disturbance. Maybe an 18% they said it was a disturbance, but a kind of digital community, 15%, and also 35%, they could pray for other people who put their intentions. So in a way, the online services in the liturgy help them connect to each other digitally, though they did not know each other actually. And your ecclesiastical status, don't think they were all religious people. More than half were lay people. Lay men and lay women take the upper part of this pie chart. 44 plus 20, 65% lay persons in fact among these online people. 27% only religious attended. Then how do you participate in the online life? We thought people did not participate properly. We asked questions like, I participated staying in the bed, I participated sitting properly as in a church, or while I travel, while doing other things. And 57 and 16%, they mentioned they participated as though they participate in church, sitting properly. They even lit candles at the family altar. So they were very serious about online mass, those who participated. How much of the mass do you normally participate online? We also thought they would not be participating the full mass. They participate part of the mass and switch it off or switch on to something else. The full mass, 88%, they participate in the full mass. So this is a conclusion I had from this. Those who participated, the liturgy was part of family liturgy, and that was part of the family Eucharist for them. And this is another phase of faith, not conducted by me, but from the national team, Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. They had organized letters to God from the children up to 16 to 18. And they had collected more than 500 letters during the pandemic. The topic was they had to write a letter. And through them, I got the letters for analysis. And some of the letters content, I can't present all the letters content, is another phase I'm going to present to you. One letter, 8-year-old Ethan saying, "Dear God, my online classes have started this week. As they are recorded sessions, it is not so interesting. Nowadays, I'm not able to meet my friends or play with them." This is from Ethan. So for him, his playfulness, playful world, the world of children disappeared during the pandemic, and he's feeling sorry for that. This is another letter from Nathan, 11 years. "Dear God, I want to invent a time machine to go back to 2019 and tell Wuhan laboratory to be careful with the virus. Don't let it go out and kill people." This is a very strong message from a child to adult world. What a child has to say to adults. These are the faces from the children. Now, based on this experience, and also to explain about catechesis and post-pandemic, we need to understand what is catechesis. So I thought, what is the nature and understanding of catechesis? And I have the latest book, Directory for Catechesis, that was released 2020 last year. According to this, one understanding of catechesis, every catechesis, when you look at it, it has got double layers or two sides, two folds actually. For example, if you talk about liturgical catechesis, There is a catechesis in liturgy, catechesis about liturgy, catechesis in prayer, catechesis towards prayer, catechesis in faith, catechesis for faith, catechesis in family, catechesis for the family. The numbers in the bracket are the paragraph numbers of this document. So according to latest understanding, when you think about catechesis, there are two ways of looking at catechesis on a particular area. Suppose you are talking about liturgical catechesis, we do not only think about teaching about liturgy, there is also catechesis during the liturgy. We are not talking about teaching about prayer alone. There is also catechesis when we are praying. Faith is being formed during prayer. When we think about catechesis about faith, there is catechesis as the faith is formed and developed. When you talk about family catechesis, not only we are catechizing family themselves become the subject of catechesis. They themselves form each other. Another area, missionary discipleship. This is a goal of catechesis focused here. So what is the purpose of catechesis? The purpose of catechesis is not some intellectual knowledge, not mere intellectual assent, not mere classroom activity. Not catechesis is much more than that, a missionary act. And not just missionaries, missionary disciples. We are related people, a kind of building relationship between master and disciple. And this is much more focused than previous directory, because previous directory mentioned about being disciples. Here, missionary disciples. That means I am connected to my God, a kind of relationship, also connected to other people, missionary disciples. Third understanding is when we talk about catechesis, most of us think catechesis is only for children. All are part of this catechesis, and every faculty of person need to be formed: head, heart, and hands. That's what this directory says. Groom, another catechetical scholar, would say total catechesis. Today they speak about fourth H, habit, lifestyle. So it touches my heart, affects my being, it touches my head, intellectual being, it touches my hands, action level, and also my lifestyle becomes a habit for me. My faith is a habit for me. And not child-related matter. It's a lifelong process and life-wide process. And all of us are part of this catechesis, and all of us are catechets, all of us are agents and subjects and objects of this catechesis process. Now, continuing on this, today's focus, this directory gives us digital catechesis, because we are in the digital era in this millennium, and our catechized, or those who are catechized, are mostly this generation digital natives. Now, to address this digital natives, we need digital language. And to have this digital language, we have a problem, handicap. Most of our catechists are digital immigrants. Because we are not born into this generation. We come from another generation. So there is a generation gap or digital divide. And that's one issue this directory says: need for media education, catechists and catechized, and a type of intergenerational catechesis. Intergenerational catechesis where different generations come together to learn together, to teach together. So that is the type of catechesis visualized in this directory. Evolution of focus in catechesis, if you look, earlier understanding in the 16th century, when you look at three components of catechesis, catechist there, techniques are there, the content of catechesis, message is there. Earlier message was focused because catechism came into existence in the 16th century, so the message was focused. Later, when the missionaries started to go to the New World, Asia, South America, and Africa, catechist was focused, the one who teaches. But in the 20th century, psychology developed, educational psychology developed, and techniques developed. So the method was focused. But today, this document says, more focus, more important, the catechist, witness, accompaniment, a relationship established, discipleship, missionary. The focus is shifted now in catechesis. Now, some concerns when I talk about some indications for the future coming from the past life or the present life itself, some concerns from this COVID-19. We are still in the COVID-19, it is not over, so good to have some concerns. One concern is domestic church. The past of household churches in the Acts, is becoming present and probably the future. This is one present trend and also the future trend. That means our first church was family, and in the history of the church, the first church was always family. Church began in family, Acts of the Apostles, household churches. Families were the churches at that time, not the buildings as we see today. And during the pandemic, it was revealed again. We went back to that olden times where the families became the church. And probably in the future, we need to think in that line again. The family is the church. Family is the first church. Second concern, church without boundaries. You know what happened during the pandemic? Anyone, anywhere could be connected. For our Calcutta Salesians online liturgy, we had people from Malaysia, Singapore, Kuwait, people from Ireland, people from America, people from Mauritius. There is no boundary there in online liturgy. The territorial boundaries of the parish are fast disappearing due to COVID-19. And anyone from anywhere can be connected to worship. So this is one thing that will evolve even in the post-pandemic. Number 3, charity in the church. You know what happened? When the people stopped coming to the parish, income to the parishes has drastically ceased. Running and maintaining parishes will be different if the COVID-19 continues for a few more months or even stops. So there is income reduced into the church. Digital liturgy, as you see that picture there, which I posted again earlier. Liturgy through electronic media was permitted in the past and present for emergency cases. It will not be forever. Always the church has said, even before pandemic, electronic media can be used for those who are sick, who are not able, but that's not the real liturgy. Only they have nothing, no other way to participate. That can be a kind of secondary level of participation. Now, digital liturgy came inside. It has got a danger. It will be tough to undo it in the future, since it is becoming a normal way of expressing faith, though it becomes a spectator sport at times. It's like watching a TV show. It can become into that style. Number 5, fake interpretations. You know that several interpretations of the Bible and faith were forwarded and promoted in social media, which simple Catholics are finding difficult to distinguish between what is Catholic and what is not Catholic. This was going on in large number during the pandemic. That raises a lot of concerns and warnings for us Catholics, especially about faith. We need, in fact, during this season and in the post-season, an apologetic catechesis, probably in digital form, has to be introduced at earliest for proper learning of faith. Maybe the future of catechesis, I see one area is kind of apologetic. Apologetic catechism was existing during the patristic time, fathers of the church time, when there was a lot of schisms and misunderstanding, wrong understanding of our faith. The fathers' church used to defend faith through their writing or their homilies. I think we need to come back to that to teach people the proper faith. I'll tell you a few examples, okay, which I circulated during this pandemic time. This is one message I circulated during the first wave. Chain mails, for example, and I said, please do not forward chain mails that promise curse or blessings by praising or passing to others. The Catholic faith does not promote such faith, provoking fear and force among the faithful. And some of us do that sometimes. Please do not forward messages that create communal tension or anti-social tension. Example, requesting all Catholics to pray that authorities may not stop mass for Catholics. And this trend was existing among some Catholics. Number 3, there are false rumors spread by some people that communion in hand is sacrilege. And some people, talked against that, spread messages against that. In fact, in the Catholic Church, from the 4th century, this was promoted, communion in hand. There is nothing wrong. There is nothing unsacred about that. I'll stop with the 4th one. Please do not forward messages that interpret Bible out of context in the wake of Corona. And some of us must have done. COVID-19, so read Psalm 19 or 91, reverse the number. These are all actually not the right interpretation of the scripture. So this kind of things, we need apologetical catechesis, right intellectual, right teaching of the faith. So that was one issue. Online courses and retreats may replace the old system of analog courses and retreats, even if lockdown or pandemic is fully ceased in future. I think future is not everything in presence. The future is going to be a mixture of offline, how we call in presence and online. However, the poor and the homeless will be deprived of such things even in Indian situation. And in educational psychology, in educational field, multiple intelligence theory is giving way to artificial intelligence. Multiple intelligence promoted by Howard Gardner in 1983, which has become the thing of the present educational psychology. Now they are going for artificial intelligence. Now how that will affect catechesis? Okay, we will see that. Family catechesis. Family catechesis has to be given the utmost importance in the present and the future. Faith begins first in the family, and our first liturgy was not in the parish. Our first liturgy was always in the family. We began our liturgy, and I began my liturgy in the family, not in the parish. So remember this. Eco-catechesis will pick up in the future. The reality of coexistence is back again during this pandemic. When humanity retreated, nature is reclaiming its lost space. We know that during the lockdown. And Laudato Si, though it was promoted before pandemic, even during the pandemic or after pandemic, it will be still a distant dream. How we have implemented, how much we have implemented this Laudato Si. And there is an urgent need for eco-catechesis to be introduced and integrated with the family, parish, and school levels. And finally, family liturgy. Family liturgy is evolving these days due to COVID-19. A set of catechetical guidelines need to be provided from every diocese for a proper family liturgy. Now, family liturgy is evolving because of all this. And I would even propose, that is a good sign from lethargic faith to liturgical faith in the family. And also, probably catechetical experts and diocesan catechetical experts need to provide a family liturgy handbook, a kind of vademekum for the family liturgy. That will help every family to have prayers during the anniversaries, prayers during the birthdays, liturgy during the wedding, and all in the family. We need not only just a rosary alone, many other family liturgy handbook. Now, let me shift to needed focus we need in future catechesis. I just give you just few focus. I'm not predicting anything. Probably we need to have this area focus in the future. The first thing, probably the future will be online to hybrid catechesis. What do I mean by online catechesis? We are going to have in the coming days the issues connected to online catechesis, and there are directors going to speak about that. But in the future, I believe it's a mixture of online and offline. That is called hybrid. Second, parish to family catechesis. Now our catechesis is limited to parish Sunday catechesis. Probably we need to begin it not from the parish, begin from the family and come to parish later. If family catechesis is not existing, and if family faith is not existing, parish catechesis may collapse. Number three, discipleship to missionary discipleship. In fact, earlier directories were talking about the general catechet directory in 1971. That was talking about we are ministers. From ministers, it came to disciples. Now it is coming to missionary disciples. I think that is the focus in the future. Our purpose of catechesis is not just teaching them some prayers, making them missionaries and disciples, connected people. Number four, conformative catechesis to relational and accompanying catechesis. What is this focus we need to have in the future? Most of our catechesis, if you look at it, conformative. What is conformation? Routine, mechanic way of structure. Even in catechesis, teach them some prayers, teach them some syllabus, teach them some topics and all that. Confirmation that goes on routine. With that, people think they are the good Christians. Even with this knowledge, sometimes they think good Christians. Even devils can get first prize in catechism class. You know that. So more than this, we need relational catechesis, accompanying catechesis. And number five, confused faith to convinced faith. What is that? I talked about fake messages, faith not really making people confused. And in this era, confused faith, when the social media is very much alive, which can affect the people's lives, we need to teach them apologetic faith that makes them convinced in their faith. And finally, sectarian catechesis to synodal catechesis. This is the final focus I am giving you, most important focus. I believe the future going to be synodal type of catechesis. What is synodal? We are in the era of synod. Synod has started in our dioceses. And what is the synod? Journeying together, working together. And while we walk together, we listen to each other, we talk to each other, we teach each other, we hear each other, and we respect each other. And there is transformation taking place, not only in those who are listening, also those who are talking, those who are involved, a complete transformation. That is called synodality. And this is a message of synodality, the symbols of synodality, the image of synodality. I think that's the final goal as we journey in the catechetical journey in the future.
Father Gilbert, it pains me to disturb your flow.
Yeah,
But
tell me.
5 minutes more.
Oh, sure. Oh, that's more than enough. Well, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. A few images that can inspire us. This was an image of faith, where the boat image during the year of faith. We are on the same boat, journeying together. Beautiful image to inspire us. Image of Emmaus, journeying together, a stranger and two disciples. Strangers become friends at the end. Beautiful image. We have finally the image of the family, praying together. Apart from the synodal family, journeying together, praying together and caring for each other, supporting each other. I think these are the images that will inspire us towards the future catechesis. I conclude with a poem. I started with a poem. This is a poem written by Diane. If I had my child to raise over again, if I had my child to raise all over again, I would build self-esteem first and the house later. I would finger paint more and point the finger less. I would do less correcting and more connecting. I would take my eyes off my watch and watch with my eyes. I would care to know less and know to care more. I would take more heights and fly more kites. I would stop playing serious and seriously play. I would run through more fields and gaze at more stars. I would do more hugging and less tugging. I would see the oak tree in the acorn more often. I would be firm less often and affirm much more. I would model less about the love of power and more about the power of love. It was written by Diana Lumens. I got it from internet. I think that summarizes all what I said towards the catechesis. That's all, folks. Thank you very much. Be missionary disciples.
Father Gilbert, what to say now? Not a single question in the chat box.
Oh my God.
That shows how clear you were. On behalf of the participants, I definitely have to congratulate you for your excellent presentation. Excellent. Amazing.